Hi, everybody. It's Bean, and welcome to the latest secret sesh exclusively for Patreon supporters like you on Danksgiving Eve, the day before Thanksgiving. Some people call it Thanksgiving. That's got kind of a colonial vibe that we're not too into here, but we love Thanksgiving, which is, of course, a sort of spin off, splinter holiday from Thanksgiving that is all about getting lit with your friends and the cooler members of your family and enjoying all of those traditional foods outside of any political context that involves a bunch of people from one place coming and displacing well, you know how the story goes with Thanksgiving. Not a happy one if you really look at it. But I, like many people, do love the tradition of getting together with your family, having a ritualistic meal. I am actually here in New Jersey visiting my family, and while cannabis is now completely legal here, I am staying at my sister's house, and she's got kids in the house. So you may have heard me say before, the only time I really fucks with vape pens personally is when I'm at my sister's house, hiding out in the basement, trying to get a little high on and not blow up the spot, as they say, and maybe not ready for a whole edibles journey. So I've got this nice little live rosin pen that somebody gave me on my recent trip to Washington State. So let's start at the top and make this not just a secret sesh, but a sesh. Sorry, I feel a little off. I'll be perfectly honest. I am still completely getting used to the idea of just talking to y'all through the void, looking at myself on the Zoom feed and trying to not feel too weird about it. But what I feel super good about is a nice pre-Thanksgiving sesh with you all to start this one off. So here we go. Don't tell anybody. That is very tasty. And that is me rapidly dispersing those vapors. And that was one little maintenance cough. And I did think, what are some of the things that I'm most thankful for this year? And right off the top, it is definitely the fact that here in New Jersey, where I grew up, where much of my family lives, this is my first Thanksgiving at home under legalization. There's cannabis stores open, but even more important than that, people are not getting arrested in New Jersey for weed. And, needless to say, I grew up here and my family's still here, and I do know a lot of people in this state, including people very, very close to me who have been arrested and put through the criminal justice system, and really had a long stretch of my life that was torn up and torn apart by somebody very, very close to me in my life being surveilled by the police and set up for arrest and threatened with all kinds of very severe uh, criminal penalties for that. So to be on a place that I do still consider home, and to be no longer worried about that, and to hear from so many people in my family, friends of friends, old friends, how this has changed their life or made them feel more comfortable, how much more open the discussion around cannabis is now in New Jersey. I'm attending several regular Thanksgivings what will be tomorrow when you see this. And I've already gotten hit up by people like, "Hey, can't wait to take a walk before we eat," or let's sneak up, let's sneak down to the basement between dinner and dessert. And so you just see how that openness really spreads. If you live in a legal state, or if you're home visiting family in a legal state, you know what I'm talking about. And if you are celebrating both thanks and or Thanksgiving in a prohibition state, just know that I have been there with you. If you have to smoke indoors, anytime somebody's frying onions in the kitchen, that's a good time to sneak away somewhere else. If you have to go outside and it's cold out and you smoke weed, that scent will stick to you. Make no mistake. So, walking back into a house full of fried onions or some kind of cooking smell is a good cover. Um, and yeah, you should be the representative of weed at your family's gatherings. But with great flower comes great responsibility. So, I'm especially thinking there was actually just an article in the New York Times, pretty cool article from a friend of the podcast, the journalist Jackie Bryant. Big article in the New York Times. I'll link it in the Patreon about Thanksgiving, which is pretty wild when you think about it. But one thing that called out to me was, when you're doing actual Thanksgiving, it tends to be more your friends, and you bring over some leftovers, and you maybe watch a movie, and you all might be home where you grew up, visiting from different places because you came back to see family. Those are super special, and usually you will be with a pretty strong stoner crew, but just, keep an eye on the edibles. Not everybody, knows how much they can handle. Sometimes people like to make homemade Thanksgiving treats, and of course, the margin for error in terms of how many milligrams of THC are in your infused gravy per serving can be difficult to dial in as well. So, you don't want to be that guy or that gal or that non-binary person who overspiked the gravy or made mashed potatoes with too much weed butter in them. And this goes triple, quadruple if you are in a cool family that completely embraces your lifestyle and has you bring edibles as part of the official Thanksgiving feast. Be really, really careful. Best way to do something is always to just make infused butter, test it yourself the day before, make sure it's the strength that you think it is, and then just if somebody wants a little helping of that butter, you add it right onto the mashed potatoes. Don't try to make infused mashed potatoes and bring them, and then all of a sudden grandma is, run over by a reindeer because she wandered out in the middle of the street. I happen to know it's not in the song lyrics, but that's what happened to the grandma who got run over by the reindeer. There's a lot of reindeer blame, a lot of reindeer shaming. And, we already know Rudolph was shamed his entire life. But what they don't tell you is grandma was lit because somebody put too much weed in the weed mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving. I guess the song also says she was walking home on Christmas Eve. So, I'm busting this whole, this is Welcome to the Green Pill, Christmas song, Thanksgiving edition. This plan to just wing it and talk into the void is definitely, I'm right on point. No tangents, no, no wrong turns. All right, I'm just gonna, there was no visible reaction to the first sesh of the secret sesh, so I think we got to keep this vibe going. Another thing I am, of course, extremely, extremely thankful for it is this show, and getting to do the big history stories that we share, sharing that Reggie Watts interview with you. I mean, that's somebody who is, not the most famous person in the world. Certainly has a high profile. Uh, but he's somebody I've seen a lot of live performances over the years, including, just as a journalist, I used to cover music sometimes. Um, he's just one of the most unique and life affirming performers that I've ever gotten to see. Somebody who, as you heard in the interview, certainly totally loves weed. So, like, yeah, getting to talk with people like that and share that with you and really have, what I thought was a pretty interesting and sort of sophisticated conversation about cannabis and creativity. And I heard from some of you on Patreon about the creative, cool things that you like to do uh, when you're getting blazed. Like, that's just so amazing and fun and a real privilege to have those conversations and to share them with you. And as much as I sputter a little at the start of these secret sessions, um, this is kind of like free therapy. I want to share. I'm also just like, so many things that we try as creative professionals don't end up panning out, and you really learn not to talk about things until almost they've already happened, until it's going to come out, because you can get the rug pulled out from under you at any time. But in this very closed circle of trust, I just want to say, I reached out to my book agent, somebody who I used to sell the previous book, how to smoke pot properly, and finally I shared with him some of the basically what I've shared with you from a sample chapter for the book I'm working on. And it takes a while to hear back, and I heard back from him with a very enthusiastic message. And I'm very thankful for that, because that's a big part of hopefully getting an advance that I can use to actually write the book. He is the one who would go to publishers and try to get them interested in that. But I'm really thankful to all of you, because I think that challenge that I gave myself to create something to share with you um, got me from thinking about this book to actually working on the proposal and the sample chapter, and hearing back positive comments and encouraging comments from you all, just all the more so made me feel like, yeah, this is a book that I want to write. This is a book that people want to read and maybe can contribute to the conversation around cannabis in a meaningful way. So that is really great. And, it's a long way to go. Definitely not there yet, but I'm going to keep you all posted on how that goes. And, um, if I had a dime bag for everything I've proposed over the last 10 years that didn't happen, I'd have 100,000 pounds of weed. So you could do the math on that. I've actually joked about starting a competition called the Pitchy Awards for the best pitch deck of the year. That the only rule is whatever was pitched can't actually have happened. But all that to say, there's somebody, whose job is to sell books, and to give me his honest opinion. And he was very enthusiastic about it. And you're all a part of that journey for me. And I've really been wanting to write another book. So let's hope that happens. I think for weed and Thanksgiving culture, I would be remiss if I did not recommend to everyone certainly the song Alice's Restaurant. And we'll talk in a second about the movie Alice's Restaurant. The song is I should have done these aren't about research, they're about session, man. I just say what comes to mind, and I've got the world's most popular podcast because I was on a reality show. Sorry. just kind of don't like when somebody skips to the top of the podcast mountain without actually putting in the kind of work that we bring you every other weed on great moments in weed history. On these weeds, the secret sesh weeds, I'm just going to say, I think Alice's Restaurant, the song is from the late 1960s. Pretty sure it is a song by Arlo Guthrie. His father was Woody Guthrie, an incredible and really huge figure in American folk music and in American left-wing politics. And this is a song by his son, Arlo Guthrie, also a great, wonderful musician. It's set around Thanksgiving. It has a sort of hippie, anti-war theme. I don't want to say too much about it. I just want to say, if you've never heard the song, Alice's Restaurant, it is about 17 minutes long or so. That's what makes it a great sesh song, you know. You could pretty much roll one up and smoke half of it with a few people while you listen to the song. It's funny, it's human and real. It is absolutely a Thanksgiving tradition for many people. So, you know, if you have, maybe if you're a younger person who hasn't heard about it, ask your stoner uncle about it. I am probably your surrogate stoner uncle, so I'm telling you about it now. And there is a movie version of Alice's Restaurant as well, which I also want to recommend. But I just want to say, it's while the song deals with some big issues around having to go to the Vietnam War, etc., it's pretty much funny and 17 minutes long. The movie is I think a really brilliant and beautiful film, but it's got a deep sadness at its heart. So in terms of like something that you're going to watch after Thanksgiving with your family to chill out and have a few laughs, maybe not that. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, except for Alice. So keep that in mind as well. Another important Thanksgiving/Thanksgiving tradition is, you know, if you are fortunate enough to have that next day off from school or work or any kind of obligation like that, it's a great time to get up, take a morning walk, have a couple of puffs, and then come back and eat the leftovers. But I think if you can get out in the woods on that day, really, really reflect on the time of year. It can be a tough time of year for a lot of people as the days get shorter, as the winter kind of looms in. So, you know, I know that what helps me is to get out, to get some sunlight on my face early in the day, to have a puff, and then what could be better than returning for those Thanksgiving leftovers. And maybe you've got those stoner friends that you went to high school with. You know, maybe you haven't really stayed as connected as you could or you should. Nothing says, hey, let's get together and talk about old times like I got some good weed to share. So do think about keeping those connections going. You know, some people have very fond memories of high school. Some people have very not so fond memories of high school. But we all should have at least one or two stoner friends that we can reconnect with in the spirit of Thanksgiving. Again, here I am celebrating the first legal Thanksgiving in New Jersey for me. Happy to be here. Really, really happy to share this time and space with you, and looking forward to next Weedness Day when I am going to pull another really, really cool interview out of the archives to share with you. I have some great history stories in the pipeline as well. The pipeline? Don't think I've done that one before. So that sounds like a good place to wrap things up here with an exclusive secret sesh weed pun in the pipeline. Happy Thanksgiving to one and all. And if you want to share a Thanksgiving story from this year or from years past in the comments on this Patreon feed, I'd really, really love to hear them. I'm just kind of, staying in the basement here at my sister's place, and I will enjoy hearing from you and let you know what I think of your Thanksgiving stories. So thanks again for all of your support this entire year. Happy Thanksgiving, and keep Secret Session with me. Salud.